Many woodworking plans for doors, tabletops, shelves, and others include a corner radius to give it character or a unique look, but how do you get that unique look easily? Most options require a router table, which you may or may not have room for, or the piece may just be too large to maneuver on a router table. Drawing a line on your material helps some, but matching it with your router isn't always as accurate as we'd like. And routing that same profile consistently on all four corners by hand, forget about it. So to simplify the process, we've developed the corner routing guide set. While it works with a standard router table, it's also fully compatible with full-size router and even a trim router when space is limited. It comes with 8 different quick change templates for repeatability and maximum versatility. So now let's get to know the product. First, let's take a look at the base plate. It comes with the handle and the edge stop posts pre-installed, so it's virtually ready to use right out of the box. The underside of the base plate is covered in Kreg's Grip Max material to help keep the corner routing guide in place on your material during operation. Now let's check out the included corner profile templates. The corner radius guide comes with 8 different inserts, 3 chamfer profiles and 5 radius profiles, which snap securely into the included case, as well as the base plate using a series of mating notches. Just make sure the side indicating the measurements are facing up and snap into place. Alright, now let's set up the base and get ready to route. For larger parts, position the edge stop posts into the outermost threaded inserts on the underside of the base plate. Your material should be 3.5 inches wide or larger, with a thickness of at least 1/2 inch. For narrower parts like this one, you can move the edge stop post closer to the corner on the short side to maintain 4 points of contact with the workpiece. All 4 edge stop posts should be adjusted so they contact the material edge and can be tightened snug by hand. Okay, now that we're all set up, let's see it in action with a handheld router. First, install the flush trim bit into your router. The guide was designed to work with our double bearing flush trim bits, but any top bearing flush trim bit will do the trick. Adjust the bit height to the thickness of your material and make sure the top bearing rides against the profile template in the base plate. Position the base plate with the template over the corner of your material and all 4 edge stop posts contacting the edges. If you're using a larger handheld router that requires 2 hands to operate, secure the guide to the material with a clamp. And if you're using a trim router that can be operated with 1 hand, no need to use a clamp. Just hold the guide in place with your other hand. Next, rest the router base on top of the template. Make sure the bit's not touching the material before powering up the router. When you're ready, turn it on and run the router left to right along the material. You'll make multiple passes for cuts larger than 1/2 inch, taking off only a small amount of material at a time. The bearing on the bit won't actually touch the template until the final pass. And lastly, let's take this thing for a spin over here on the router table. Install a flush trim bit with a 1/2 inch shank, like the Kreg flush trim bit. Make sure the bit height matches the thickness of your material, with the top bearing riding along the edge of the profile template. This time, position the handle towards you and the edge you're about to trim away from you, facing the router bit. Grip the handle firmly and apply moderate downward pressure to keep the guide in place on your material. Now position your material at the starting pin. Make sure your material and the bit aren't touching, then turn the router on. Run the material right to left along the bit. Cuts larger than 3/4 of an inch will need multiple passes. And again, the bit bearing won't actually make contact with the template until your last pass. The corner routing guide set and templates are easy to clean too. Just wipe them down with an old rag or use compressed air to get rid of any dust or debris. And for the base plate, use a damp cloth on the Grip Max material to keep it at peak efficiency. With Kreg's corner routing guide set, you'll add a new dynamic to your craft. Whether you have a full-size shop, a garage shop, or just a couple sawhorses and a dream, the corner routing guide set will help you create stunning pieces in any space, so get yours today.